If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I love life sim games. I grew up playing The Sims, starting with the original Sims game in the early 2000s, moving on to The Sims 2, then 3, and then I kind of touched The Sims 4, but got really bored with it very quickly, so I don't play it anymore. If you guys haven't seen any of my past Sims 2 videos, please go check them out. I'm also a big Animal Crossing fan. However, one life sim that I've never picked up was Tomodachi Life. I didn't play it when it was originally out on the 3DS. I don't think I knew what it was. Somehow I was living under a rock. However, I did play the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream demo, and I have a lot of thoughts. Pretty much all of them are positive. There's something really comforting about life sim games where you don't have to rush and you can just take your time, check in whenever you're able to, see what everyone's up to, and enjoy the little things and then leave. This is definitely the feeling that I have regarding the Tomodachi Life Living the Dream demo, and I'm sure it's going to be the exact same thing in the full release because this was just a little taste of what is to come. Today we're going to be spending some time going through the motions of creating our island and the first 3 residents in the demo because unfortunately we're capped at the 3. I've seen a lot of discussion, mainly on the Reddit for this game, about making it more manageable with the amount of residents that you have. I don't think I'm gonna have like 100 people because that scares me. As it is, I can barely keep up with my Sims. Someone mentioned they were probably gonna have about 32 me's living on their island. I would probably cap it somewhere between 20 and 30, me personally. And a lot of them, for me at least, are gonna be like characters from this book that I've been writing, which I haven't written anything in a while, but these are also characters that I've been playing around with for many years in like fan fiction and stuff that I've done, but I am also making their stories more original and putting them in like a different format. This would give me the opportunity to play around with that, even though it's very basic. I've done this in The Sims 2 as well, however, I haven't really played with them. I've just been building, and I feel like there are a lot of differences between the personality systems. I'm gonna probably be referencing The Sims series a lot because that is really my only other knowledgeable base for what a life simulator is, because like that is the quintessential life simulator. And again, I have no experience with Tomodachi Life apart from this demo and the trailers that I've seen from Nintendo on the game. I do like that this is very much an idle thing like Animal Crossing. You can just check in whenever you're able to, see what's going on, and then watch over what's happening. It seems like that there is going to be some input from you as the player, but overall I think it's going to be really fun to just watch the Miis interact with each other and see what they get up to. I feel like the most robust thing is the character creator, which of course I spent a lot of time in this demo. I like that there's the option to either start from scratch or using a base and going through various questions to fill out the parts of your Mii's face and body and hair and all that. Of course I made a Mii of myself, and we're going to see how they settle in and check in on them when I have the full release of this game to see what else they're getting up to. This is definitely going to set the tone for everything that happens after. I like that this is pretty much following the flow of the trailer that was released, or the direct, or whatever it was, where we went through the life of the Mii that they had created. Well, not life, but like the first few bits of her life, like the first few days or weeks or whatever, and the various relationships that she had with the other islanders. I feel like it was pretty easy to follow, and all of that played out pretty much directly how it was in the Nintendo video, so that was good for me because it made it seem like there wasn't really a whole lot left to interpretation, even though of course every Mii typically will have a different personality. Honestly, the personality that my Mii ended up with is pretty much spot on for how I am in real life, which is pretty funny. That wasn't necessarily what I was trying to go for, although I guess it was, because I'm not really great at like creating an alter ego of myself. To me, the relationships that my Miis have formed, even though in the beginning stages, have seemed pretty organic, and I like that you get little buffs and little items and gifts and whatever for fulfilling their wants, which typically have to do with building relationships. At least that is what was highlighted in the demo. Of course, this demo was kind of limited and short in my opinion, which makes sense because this is only just a taste of what is to come in the full game. My full gameplay capture time for this in OBS was a little over an hour. It was about an hour and 10 minutes, and some of that was just me reading through the menus. What I do like also is that you can change the volume of the various things in the game. There are separate volume options for the voicing, the music, and the sound effects and whatnot, which a lot of games are lacking. I'm looking at Animal Crossing in particular. Unfortunately, you can't change the text size or scale of the UI in this game, but for me, being someone who is playing with low vision, the text itself is large enough that I'm able to see it without having to use the built-in screen magnifier on the Switch 2. I'm looking at Pokemon Pokopia because I do have to zoom in whenever there's dialogue because I can't really read it that well unless I'm sitting with my face directly in front of the monitor very close, and that's not fun. I also think it's funny the way that the voices are. I know this is a hallmark of Tomodachi Life in general. I've seen, I think, a little bit of gameplay footage from the 3DS game, and I know that that's like the main thing with these games is the funny voices. However, coming from me, a person who is in the blind and low vision community, it is especially hilarious because these are the typical voices that are used for text-to-speech programs, such as a screen reader. Think Windows Narrator or VoiceOver on the Apple devices. These are very much robotic, synthesized voices that I think are really telling for the game in that they're not going with realistic AI voices, which I prefer. I wouldn't want to have the Mii's sound too realistic. I feel like that would be too uncanny valley. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I just wouldn't like it. However, I did get a good laugh listening to some of them talk. Just the tones and the actual inflection of the voices, it really reminds me of a text-to-speech program, which is a good thing. Like, I'm not knocking it. I just think that it's really funny because of my personal experiences.
Tomodachi Life, living the dream on Fauna Island.
The demo is definitely simple, allowing you to purchase a few things from the 2 stores that pop up, and you're able to see a couple of news reports as well. However, there is an actual cap. For example, I opened it up earlier to delete one of the Mii's and add a new one in its place, and I was greeted with the pop-up telling me that the demo was officially, done. Like, I had allotted my playtime with it, and that my data would transfer over to the full version. Upon opening the 2 shops that are on my island currently, I also was greeted with a pop-up saying that it was the last time they would update during the course of the demo in terms of new daily items. That makes sense because at the time that I'm recording this video, we are going into the week of release for this game. I did already pre-order it. It is downloaded onto my system, so essentially I'm assuming all I have to do is open it, put in the little virtual game card or whatever upon release, and it'll be fine. I've never really pre-ordered a digital game before, but I'm hoping it's going to be that simple. I am really looking forward to when the full version of the game comes out. The trailer and the direct both showed a lot of things that can be done in the game, and I've seen other screenshots showing maybe seasonal items or seasonal event type things. Maybe we're actually going to get weather. I don't really know. I am looking forward to building out the island a bit more as well. This is something that I've been struggling with a little bit in Pokopia particularly. I did finally finish the storyline in that game, and I did unlock the final Ditto transformation. However, my struggle really is with inspirational type things. Although I do like that with this game, you're not really going to have to build things block by block in terms of buildings and homes and things. It just looks like they plop down immediately when you add a new Mii. I'm sure there are going to be customization options, I would imagine. Otherwise, everybody's going to be living in the same looking home, and I personally wouldn't like that. It would be too much like Desperate Housewives or whatever, but I guess that's to be seen in the full release of the game. I'm sure that there are more things that they're going to be adding in that of course were not available in the demo because there was a cap. Anyway, let me know if you guys are interested in seeing more videos like this, particularly from Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. I would love to update you guys on what is happening in my game, maybe do a couple of playthroughs here and there. The vibes of it really make it seem like you just check in on them and see how it is, and then you leave the game. I also like that it gave me the option to either continue after saving or quit, something Animal Crossing New Horizons does doesn't do, and I hate that. The option was there in New Leaf, and I don't know why they took it away in New Horizons. However, we are done here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.